What's up, everyone? We are back for another series of educational content here. We are going to break down the push-up to the bare bones, and then we're going to try to build it back up into some very fun variations. Now, just like the pull-up, everyone's going to have a different starting spot. Figure out where you need to start. Make sure you're doing these basic movements, progressions 1, 2, 3, perfectly first. They're all requisites to build up and being able to do those high-level advanced push-ups even better. So we're starting at the ground floor. With this video, we're going to build you up the right way. Let's get started. Let's have some fun, and let's get a little bit better at those push-ups, a little bit healthier through those shoulders. Here we go. All right, as we look to get started here, everything comes down to the fact that we are doing a plank. We're doing a moving plank at all progressions of a push-up. You have to master the plank before you worry about getting that push-up. First progression here, master the low plank, master the high plank. Make sure that core is strong enough to hold the position. And then we'll get into our push-up progression. Look, to get started here, we'll start in that low plank position. Big thing we're focused on here, we're pushing away from the floor so we get in the shoulder protraction. We're depressing our shoulder blades down and into our back pockets. We're squeezing our glutes, we're squeezing our abs, we're squeezing our quads. And now we want to be active. We want to hold this position as best we can while we're focusing on breathing at the same time. So mastering this, 30 seconds upwards to a minute. And then we're looking to get into our next progression, which is going to be that high plank. Number one, we want to make sure those arms are straight, elbows are locked. We're going to depress those shoulder blades down. Again, we're pushing ourselves away from the floor. Abs tight, glutes tight, quads tight, everything is squeezing. Making sure we're actively pushing away from the floor the whole time. With the hand position, we're pushing through our heel of our hand and into our fingertips. We don't want too much pressure in one area. We want it spread out. Hands are slightly turned out, so that we can get that proper shoulder position. And again, we want to build up to be able to hold this for a solid minute before we're worried about starting to worry and get into that push-up position. That's progression number one. Let's see how you do. All right, as we look to jump already into progression number two is going to be our scap push-up. So the biggest things to focus on here is make sure those arms stay straight the whole time. We don't want that elbow to bend. We want all the motion to come from that shoulder blade, the protraction, the retraction of the shoulder blade. So being able to actively push out and pull our shoulder blades together at the same time. That's going to help build that shoulder girdle and get us moving in the right direction for those push-ups. Then we need to focus on our plank position. We're coming up from a plank. We have to make sure we maintain those same cues, tight quads, tight glutes, all that same stuff. So check this out, and I'll go through a couple different things that are typically seen in terms of things you don't want to be doing that a lot of people end up doing. Here we go. All right, so now as we get started, we're turning those hands slightly outward again. Pressure is in the heel of our hand and into our fingertips, evenly distributed. We get into our high plank position, depressing those shoulder blades down and back into our back pockets, pushing ourselves away from the floor as far as we can. We're in our plank now, so abs tight, glutes tight, quads tight, everything is squeezing, elbows are locked out, pushing ourselves away. We bring our shoulder blades together, we push our shoulder blades apart. We bring our shoulder blades together, we push our shoulder blades apart. So we're teaching that shoulder blade how to retract and protract. Make sure we're not reaching that neck forward, make sure we're not letting the hips sag. Everything is tight here, so we need to be a complete stiff board, focusing on just scapular control. Much more challenging than you think, but will help build that shoulder health to get us where we want to go into that next progression. All right, here we go. So we've already progressed through progression one, progression two. We are moving on to our first progression where we're actually going to see some movement in terms of a push-up. We're going to do our modified push-up from the knees. Now I want to focus on some cues here before we demonstrate. As we're pushing from the knees, hand position is the same. Deep press scaps is the same. That retraction, protraction is the same. All of that's going to happen. We're doing this modified version because now, again, just like we did with our our pull-ups, as we did with our inverted rows, we're trying to take away some of the body weight, right? We're trying to cut that lever length down, so from the knee to the shoulder is a little bit easier than from the toes. Going to give us an opportunity to do that. We're going to go through a full range of motion. We can go through eccentrics. We can also go through isometrics. So I'll show you all those progressions here for that progression number three. So as we dive in here, hand position to start, slightly wider than shoulder width, just like we've been doing. Hands are turned out. All of our pressure points are the same, fingertips and that heel of our hand. We get ourselves with our feet up, knee position set. We squeeze our glutes, we squeeze our abs, we squeeze our quads. So we're trying to get in that plank position. Nothing's changing from there, we're now from the knees. As we lower ourselves down, elbows stay at 45 degrees. we try to touch our chest to the floor, and we come back up all the way. Again, we're focusing on keeping those shoulder blades in our back pocket. At the top, we're pushing away so we get that protraction. We let those shoulder blades glide together at the bottom for that retraction. Great way to build that push-up out. Again, there's less mass to push, so great kind of progression there. We can also go into our eccentrics. So from that same position, we focus on going down slow. So if you're struggling to do a full rep, right, depress those shoulder blades, just control yourself down as slow as you can. I'd say a good 3 to 5 seconds to start. Once you hit the ground, you can just kind of do whatever you got to do to squirm back up. Reset the pelvis, reset the shoulder blades. Super slow, elbows stay at 45 degrees, all the way down, reset. And then we can also focus on our isometrics, which again is just gonna help us build those joint angles with where we're weak. So getting ourselves set, positions 1, hold that for about 3 to 10 seconds, depending on where you're at. Position 2, 3 to 10 seconds, depending where you're at. Make sure our core stays tight. You can come all the way down into position 3. Again, 3 to 10 seconds, depending where your progression's at. If you're capable to push up, we push up. Otherwise, we flop to the ground. We finish the rep down there. So that's our progression number 3. Again, we're looking to master that modified push-up. We should easily be able to do 20 reps before we're worried about the next progression of full range of motion. You can mix in the eccentrics and the isometrics to help you build that strength up a little bit quicker. But great progression to make sure we're setting those shoulder blades and starting to build that range of motion. All right, we are back, ready to roll here with progression number 4. Band assisted pull-ups. So I want to make sure you could see how we have this set up. Now again, the change in band width is obviously going to change how we are able to add assistance. So a smaller band is going to make it easier. Bigger band going to make it, bigger band's going to make it easier. A small band's going to make it a little bit harder. Basically, you're hooking a band up to the top, then you're going to loop a band through that band, which will end up acting as a backpack. So you put your hands through, and now it's just like wearing a backpack where we'll be able to do those push-ups. So check this one out. All right, so as we get ready for these band-assisted pull-ups, hand position, everything's gonna stay the same. We're just getting now into our feet. So this is the closest progression we've done so far to a real push-up, right? We have our full body length. We're just asking that band to provide some assistance to make sure that we have the upper body strength to do the rep. The key here is making sure our core is strong, our core is still locked in. So focus on your core position. Make sure we're focusing on that shoulder position as we start. Elbows are nice and straight, we're protracted. We lower ourselves down slowly. As we get down lower, the band assists more. So coming out of the hole should feel easy, and then working your way up to the top position. Control yourself down. Make sure we're not letting the band just pull us back up, and we kind of explode back up. So again, a great way to build that push-up out. Start getting some real reps, some real focus on full body control, full body position, as we work to build into that first real push-ups. Okay, we're back in business here, going for our push-up, first full push-up. So as we get into this one, really focus on that plank position. Again, we are officially doing a dynamic plank. We hold the plank position. Our upper body should be strong enough at this point if we took those requisite steps to get here, that we should have no issue knocking out at least that one first rep. And again, it might be a little bit of a grind, but we're gonna build it up. Now, as we build this up, remember we're trying to build into multiple sets of 10 to 20 reps. If we can get up to 20 reps in a row, we're gonna be plenty ready to do some of these variations that are coming next, but stick around here. Let's build that push-up strength. Remember, using the regressions is a great way to build more endurance, build up those positions, not just doing these push-ups to get us ready to go for those variations. So even though we're here, don't be afraid to regress once in a while. Get yourself down to those lower stages to help keep that technique, build those small muscles to help build those and assist those big muscles. So, all right, now just kind of another little hybrid opportunity here that we have, kind of a stepping stone, a like B to the A progression, if you will. We can go from the incline down to the floor. Now this is if you have a squat rack, you have a Smith machine, you have something available to you to use. Obviously we start higher, very similar to what a wall push-up would be, and then we're able to tier it down as you progress, as you want that progressive overload until you get to the floor. So starting off, you know, you get your same position, everything's kind of locked in to press those scaps, feet are in the right position, lower down to that sternum and drive back off. Again, allows us to really get those scaps to track properly, hold good form, hold good tension through our midsection, and knock out those push-ups, and then we lower it down slow. All right, key here again, hand position, shoulder position, core position. Everything's tight. Make sure we're protracted away. Lower ourselves down, let those shoulder blades come together. Chest touches the ground, not chin. Push ourselves back up. Make sure we're not getting droopy hips. Make sure we're not getting that chin to the ground. Control yourself down. Maintain that core. Touch. Back up. Control down. Touch. Back up. Now remember, we're at our push-ups. We can also add in those eccentrics and those isometrics again. So from an eccentric standpoint, we start in position. Shoulders are down and back. We lower ourselves down slowly. What I like to do is go to the knees. Just kind of do that modified push-up back up. Then get back to those toes. Go for another slow eccentric. Back to those toes. And go from there. Isometrics would be the same thing. Kind of our 3 positions that we kind of standardly go through. Work whichever one's the most challenge for you, but slightly bent. Halfway down. And then just above the bottom to make sure that we're building up those joint angles. Great opportunity here to build. Remember, we're searching for 20 minimum straight reps before we're worried about going into some of those variations. Good luck. All right, there we have it with some of the basic progressions for our push-up. We got to the push-up. Now wait for future videos here. We'll drop in some videos that are going to be progressing into advanced options, handstand push-ups, explosive push-ups, and some single arm style push-ups. So stay tuned, subscribe. Cannot wait to keep training with you. Let's go get it.